I was really sad when Burt Reynolds died.
Me too.
There's a very few mustache guys. Marlboro Man, Burt Reynolds.
Marlboro Man was the shit.
Marlboro Man was the shit.
And the Wrangler Man too.
Yep.
Here comes Wrangler, he's one tough customer, and he knows what he likes when he sees it.
Ooh, Wrangler. I haven't thought about that in fucking...
Yeah, them 70s
I haven't thought about that in
man.
like fucking...
Since you was a kid.
I was never what they were looking. No one was looking for a balding, red-headed male. It was soul-crushing. I remember I would be driving home, and I had this 88 Honda Accord. Great fucking car, man. 5-speed. There was no social media that I could then go whine about it. That's how much of a people pleaser I was back then. You know how awkward it just got in here.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, players and pimps, you inside the GGN with your host with the most, Finding Nemo, a.k.a. Nemo Hose, and I'm back at you with another blast from the past. I'm talking about we finna do it till we satisfied. Special guest, somebody make some noise for the one and only Bill Burr in the motherfucking house. What's happening, Bill?
How are you, sir?
I'm slow motion with the potion, trying to get to the ocean, man. So tell me, man, how'd you get started with this comedy thing?
I started in Boston.
Boston.
Signed up for a talent contest. Mm-hmm. You know, find Boston's funniest college student.
I love Boston people. I'm gonna be honest with you. I grew up like hating Boston people from a distance because it was Boston-LA rivalry.
Oh, yeah.
So we could never get up on them, you know what I'm saying, only until they came and played us, whether it was football, basketball, whatever it was, we'd never be able to meet anybody from Boston. Then once we started traveling and meeting people, it's like they're the same kind of people as us. They loud, obnoxious.
Yes.
They give a fuck about their teams, fuck everything else, and that's just what it is.
Yeah, it is. We're not good looking either. I noticed that when I was watching the Super Bowl. Anytime they cut to the crowd, I'm just like, Jesus Christ, we're an ugly state.
I want to know, who were some of the people that influenced you coming up as far as comedy? Who were the people that you looked up to that made you want to like jump in?
Well, I'm a kid from the 70s. I was born in 68. So it was definitely, I watched shit with my dad early on, like Tonight Show stuff, if you let me stay up that late.
That's when
like
Johnny Carson was popping.
Yep, all the Jerry Lewis shit, all the, I used to watch CPO Sharky, remember that?
Wow, hell yeah.
With Don Rickles. And after that, I started buying comedy albums. I'd buy them for my dad for Father's Day, knowing that he'd only listened to him once, so I was really buying it for myself, so I bought Rodney Dangerfield and all that shit.
Rodney, no respect? Rodney was a bad motherfucker.
Yep, I had that album that I got.
That album, Rapping Rodney, was hard.
But the game changer was I bought a Richard Pryor album, and I didn't know who he was. This is before cable.
Right.
And I was just a kid or whatever, and he just looked funny. It was that N-word's crazy. That one, you know, he's doing this, you know, he's pointing at himself. So I got that. And what I loved about his stuff was I felt like I was watching a movie.
You could see it.
Yes. And what's funny, because to this day, when I listen to if somebody brings up a bit, I don't picture him, I picture...
The bit.
Yeah, I picture the crap game that he was talking about and all of those characters and all that type of stuff. And I've seen comics have, like, glimpses of it. And I literally get, I love stand-up so much, I get like excited when I'll see it. And, but he was the only guy I ever saw that just wire to wire, he could sustain that. And then he had a way of making fun of white people that didn't make you defensive as a white guy.
No, you laughed at it.
But he still made as hard-hitting points. Whereas other times, I'll watch a black comic on stage, and I'll be like, man, this guy doesn't like me. And that makes me...
Too personal.
I just start thinking, fuck this guy.
But
even though I know some of the shit he's saying is right.
Rich had a craft about himself. You know, those legends had a craft about the way they told jokes and the way that they did their thing. I think it was coming from a real place as opposed to these comedians nowadays, so to speak. They're trying to emulate as opposed to trying to be who they are.
There's definitely... well, the problem now is there's so much opportunity you can just shoot something and just put it up there.
Overnight success.
Yeah, I would think as a comedy fan coming up, it would be hard to kind of weave through it like where I was coming up. I mean, that was not a good situation either where, you know, they were mainly picking white guys, so that wasn't a good thing. But
How hard was it for you to get in the Comedy Store back in the days?
well, Mitzi didn't pass me. I remember that. And
So
and
everybody
she
has a
didn't-
fucking bad story about it. Give me yours.
Well, she didn't even wait to the end of my set. Like I was still up there.
This
And-
Paulie's mom?
Yeah, and evidently, like halfway through my set, she was just like, "He's not ready."
Wow.
And just fucking
She's
walked
cold-blooded,
out.
man.
Yeah, and I took it personal. I was like, man, fuck her, fuck this fucking club, fuck LA. I was like everything west of the Mississippi. Fuck them, they're not funny. But now that I'm older, looking back, I wasn't ready.
She was really giving you game, right? It was getting you right.
No, she didn't give a shit. She wasn't trying to help me out. She was trying to keep her club going. It's just like, you're not good enough.
Oh, so she had no.
That's
okay.
it, yeah. And I
that.
didn't, so that was kind of how it was. And there was no social media that I could then go whine about it and create some
Did
fucking
you ever
hashtag.
go back and get your flash moment on, like, bitch, I'm the shit now?
I didn't quite say that to her, but that's not the way I would have said it. I went back. No, you know what I did? I just realized I was out in LA too soon, and I realized I was like, I have to go to New York, and I have to get so funny
The LA wants you.
that I can get over this thing, because I was not the flavor of the month guy. I was never what they were. No one was looking for a balding redheaded male.
So LA
to
was
star in
harder.
a fucking
LA was
movie.
harder for you than New York.
Yeah, just because I came out too soon. It was so hard to just to get on stage. If you needed a certain amount of momentum, a certain amount of heat to get on stage out here, and I had it for a second, and then I didn't have it. I was on a short-lived show, and that thing went away. And then I remember one night I was at the Laugh Factory, and I don't know what. I mean, I was cursing a lot or whatever, but I remember Jamie Masada came up to me. He goes, "Buddy, what happened to you, buddy? You lose your show? Then you fuck all over the place?" And I thought he was just joking around. So I just laughed. I'm like, yeah, whatever. And then he didn't give me spots the next week. And then the next week I didn't get spots, and the next week I didn't get spots. And then somebody gave me the fucking worst advice ever. It was like, you need to call up and apologize, which I did. So then he had no respect for me. He would deny all of this shit. I love him to this day, but he would deny all of this shit. But the good that came out of that was the only club I was in at that point. And then I was just like, I mean, I was doing stand-up in like fucking restaurants and shit. People like eating, not knowing there's gonna be a show, like looking up from cutting into something. And you're like, hey, what's up with Bill Clinton or whatever the fuck I was doing back then. And it was soul crushing. I remember I would be driving home, and had this 88 Honda Accord. Great fucking car, man, too. 5-speed. It just fucking, you just couldn't kill those cars. And I was just driving home, and I just had that, I hated it. I love it now. I hated LA. And I remember one day I just said, fuck this. My landlord had broken into my apartment. and so I went downstairs the next morning, and I said to the landlord right there, the manager, saying, yeah, one of your guys broke into my apartment and blah, 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 blah. And I told him the whole story. And then he immediately goes, I don't appreciate you coming down here accusing me. That was his vibe. It wasn't like, whoa, what? Hang on a second.
He did it.
Yes.
I done that
forget how
many times. When I stole some shit, the motherfucker got up. I don't appreciate you asking me about some shit that I didn't steal.
That was exactly his vibe. And I was so fucking mad, I never got him back. And I'm not going to lie, I still think about that guy every once in a while.
Give me the address.
No, it's better that I did. My girlfriend at the time she said, you should go key his car. I'm like, that's a
girl move.
That's a pussy move, yeah. So I couldn't do that.
Let her do it, shit, give it.
I didn't do that. So that was my experience in LA.
When did you start the Monday Morning Podcast?
I started that in 2007. Accidentally, I was over this comedian's house, apartment, Robert Kelly. And he was like, dude, you should do a podcast, dude. And I was like, what's a podcast? He's like, it's a fucking way to communicate with your fans. And back then, you called up like a service. So I would just do like 5 minutes, driving around, being in an airport, making fun of fat people or whatever, and then say what improv I was going to be at. And then 5 minutes turned into 6, turned into 10, just like stand-up, just how you just start building your act. And then before I knew it, people writing in asking me advice. And then I was doing an hour-long thing myself, and I didn't have a guest, which was perfect, because I got in this business because I didn't want to work, right? You get in this business, I don't want to fucking do that. I want to deal with...
Be your own boss.
Yeah, somebody else's schedule. So I've just been doing that ever since, and...
7 years, that's 12 years. It's still been running?
Yeah.
That's success.
Monday and Thursdays.
That's crazy, because that's how this show started. The same kind of way. We started with like 2 minutes.
Well, I've been trying to figure out when we could do this show since 2012, believe it or not.
For real? I had to
time.
fire a bunch of motherfuckers before I got to you, because there was a bunch of weirdos working for me and shit. People behind the scenes over there didn't know what the fuck they was doing.
These are the normal guys?
Yeah, they half normal. that long head motherfucker that came in here. That's my crew, man.
I get it.
So tell me about the show on Netflix, man. I fucking love that show. F is for family.
F is for family. That's loosely based on my childhood from the 1970s.
So fucking dope. Give me some.
Oh, you like that show?
I'm a 70s baby, man. What the fuck?
Okay.
I grew up in that era eating cereal and watching cartoons and shit. Come on, man.
This shit with the sugar-coated marshmallows.
Right. Shit.
Well, that idea came about through telling childhood stories on stage. A lot of my shit goes back to Patrice. So I used to do shit about my dad or whatever. And then I would tell him how my mother she was the one that used to, beat us up or whatever if we did something. My dad was in a fraternity, and he kept the paddle as a souvenir. My mother used to use it, so we used to hide the fuck. Yeah, she used to line us up. There was 5 of us, and you'd want to be about like third.
So that way she'd get tired.
Tired, but you didn't want to be 4th or 5th because then she was too tired and she would hit the back of your legs or your lower, like her aim wasn't as good. Yeah, and then you try to block it and you hit your hand and all that shit. So he used to be like, Bill, you got to talk about that shit. That's funny. People loved it. They laughed. It was funny. And then somewhere along the line in the 2000s, when everybody started to pretend to care about everybody, whatever the fuck that is.
That fake love?
Yes. Yeah, hashtag caring, but they're not going to actually go out and help somebody, they started groaning. I'd be like fucking doing stand-up, and people they'd be like, oh, like everything got labeled. Like that's domestic violence, that's mental abuse, that's physical abuse. Right. And I just got really frustrated, so I stopped telling the stories, but I knew that they were funny. So one day I was out walking my dog, and it just hit me. I was just like, well, why don't I just animate it?
Right.
Because nobody seems to give a fuck.
Nobody give a fuck. Everything gonna pass that they had a problem with on stage. It's gonna go right clean by.
Like if you have animated kids doing drugs, smoking,
it's okay.
People don't have animated kids, so they're like, all right, this won't influence my real kid. So that was the thing. I was just going to do little 5-minute vignettes on my website, and then I met Vince Vaughn, and then it just kind of went from there. So right now we're writing the 4th season, and like I said, it's loosely based on my family because I didn't want to embarrass anybody by putting all our shit out there. But what's funny is nobody in my family has watched it yet.
That's so dope. So you sold out the Fabulous Forum?
Yeah.
The one down the street?
Yeah. The way they sat it, I sold it out.
That's heavy. I wouldn't give a fuck. Don't sat it my ass. That motherfucker sold out.
Yeah. I mean, Kevin Hart could do it in the round, and they would have to then add a next night at the Staples Center, but... we had the stage on one side and then went around. I'm not gonna lie to you, like that was one of the great nights. And I got this thing. I grew up playing drums. Like I wanted to be a musician first, and I wasn't good enough, obviously, so I failed at that. But I still play.
Right.
And so whenever I play an arena like that, just because I'm a big Zeppelin fan and all these big bands that played there, I always early we go down, I rent a drum kit and all that, and we jam inside of it. And the sound in there, which I'm sure you perform there, now that it's not a basketball arena.
It's rocked the fuck out.
It's unbelievable.
It's rocked the fuck out in there.
Because I've done other ones where they still play sports in them, and your jokes are going past you, and you kind of have to slow down. But the Forum, I felt like I was at the Comedy Store, like the main room, but it was...
they built that shit like that. That building was built like that. Know that.
Yeah.
Classic.
I know. I miss that place. I hate the Staples Center.
I know, it's too bright.
And it's also a have and have-nots place. I feel like they put all the real fans way up top.
Way the fuck up.
And then there's just those 3
and then
levels.
the fake care fans on the floor.
Yeah, on the floor.
You got to go on my basketball court.
I know, I saw it.
You seen all the pictures
My
on
only
the wall?
question is, what happens if you drive hard to the bucket? That wall is right there.
That's what it's there for, this hood ball.
Oh, is it?
No fouls.
Well, when you play cul-de-sac ball, call me down half court.
Did you see the only white guy on the wall?
I looked. Was that Larry?
Larry motherfucking
Yeah,
Legend.
good.
He made it. He fucking made it. Larry Legend made it on this motherfucker. It's hard to make my wall of fame. Larry made it.
And as a Celtic, that's
a bad motherfucker.
Two levels.
My whole childhood, I hated that motherfucker. When I finally met him, I told him, I said, Larry, I love you so much, I hate you. Because you was the greatest motherfucking set shot shooter I ever seen in my life.
I know, he really had 1960s games.
That motherfucker.
That's what it was the best thing about it, was he was beating black guys with like a 1961 game. He was wearing like Bob Cousy ones.
Little ass shorts.
The only thing he needed was that underhanded shot. Yeah, you know what I love too is he wouldn't dunk.
Never.
He'd still come in and he would just do lap. And the only time he would dunk is if he had to. And I think he did it one time against the Pistons. That was the team I hated more. I hated more than the Lakers. Because the Lakers...
You're talking about the bad boys.
Yeah. Some of them were bad boys. The rest of them were punks. When they walked out against the Bulls...
You ain't like that?
No.
I didn't either, but I thought it was some gangster shit because it's like,
no,
fuck
it wasn't.
Y'all. Fuck y'all. Y'all ain't shit. Y'all
That was the basketball equivalent if I keyed my landlord's car.
True.
That's the same. You take a loss, you take a loss.
But what they knew was that the reign was over. They knew that them niggas was finna run it for a while. Remember, Michael, after that, Jordan
So what, did they have
lose.
to go and cry about it?
It was over.
Just the way Isaiah kind of was going out like that with his head pulled in.
But what did they do to him? They left him off the Olympic team for that. Remember that.
Did you see the look of disgust on Michael Jordan's face?
He was hurt.
No, he wasn't. He lost all respect. I would have bet. I would have gone.
He was hurt because he actually had respect for them because they made him better. And when they did that to him, he lost all respect for them.
Okay, we're kind of saying the same thing. But if another man ever looks at you like that, I mean, you have to just stop in your tracks.
Jordan didn't allow him to play on the Dream Team. How the fuck did I come in the league after you?
Right. Look, I'm not talking about Rick Mahorn.
I'm talking
that guy was. Yeah, I'm not talking.
He was a dog.
Shit. Yeah, that guy.
A straight dog. And Lambeer was a dog.
Dude, that guy's hilarious. I saw him one time on those
He's
fucking
a basketball
those
coach for
NBA
girls.
classics, and he was going like, you know, we used to try to play a mind game, and it just cuts to him just taking people's legs out and punching them in the head. It's like, dude, there's really not a lot of levels to this. You're just waiting to guys leave their fucking...
That's what he was on their team. They'd be like, okay, Bill, you can't shoot good, you can't do much shit, but go fuck somebody up.
Yeah.
Sure.
No, I will say, Bill Laimbeer, top of the key.
Yes.
He made that shot
every
ugly fucking time.
Ugly ass shot.
Nothing but net. Every fucking time. He had, I feel like he went to practice and he just stood there, and the rest of the time he fucking threw elbows. Like, that was his game.
So me and you was watching the same shit.
I can't watch it anymore.
It's too easy. You know who's gonna be there.
You know what I hate? I hate when, on Instagram, when they show a dunk now, they always play this music like it's the shit. And, like, first of all, nobody's even allowed to be underneath. Even defense is not allowed to be there. And the second the guy goes down the lane, people clear out.
Move out the way.
Because they don't want to be part of the Instagram. I feel like you should get, like, there should be a, you know, Miami Hurricanes do the turnover chain.
Yeah.
There should be something for somebody who actually goes up and tries to block.
To try to block it,
dunk.
give him an award for having heart. Because our era comes from, you gonna have to dunk on me. I don't believe you. I'm
You know who's
going
one of
up.
my favorites of all time? Remember Xavier McDaniel?
Motherfucking double reverse from the Supersonics?
I remember one time, like, when he got into fights, he tried to kill you. There was a picture in the Boston Globe, I remember. He was mad at somebody, the guy had fallen on the ground like that, and he was down on one knee and just had both hands around his, he was gonna choke him to death. If people didn't get there. That's, the Knicks were like, I feel like the really last physical.
Were Ewing in them?
Yeah, when they had
Mason.
Yeah, Mason.
Oakley.
Mason and Oakley. Just those two guys alone.
They was hard. And I like Harper, too. Harper was hard, a little guard.
I got a good Oakley story that I'll tell you after this shit.
Okay, we'll wait. I like him, too. He's a cold gangster.
Yeah,
he punked one of my homies in real life. One of my homies sat in his seat at an All-Star game. That motherfucker was like, get out my motherfucking seat.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, get out my motherfucking seat.
Yeah. That was...
Yeah, that motherfucker ain't playing. Get out his seat, man. Go sit over there. Get out of here.
That's the tone of the story I had. Well, I wasn't involved, and I just saw it, and I was just like, that is not an act.
Nah, he for real.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm your weather girl for today. I'm reporting live from Dickey, North Dakota, I mean. Make sure your dicks are out today. I forgot what I was gonna say.
on the other side of the country watching the exact same TV I was watching.
We
How
had one
crazy is
TV, that motherfucker was in the living room. Mama went to church or whatever she went to, we was turning that motherfucker, whatever we wanted to watch.
All right, you want to hear how cheap one of my brothers was? I was living with him, my first apartment. We were living, it was this old-ass fucking, like, looked like a haunted house. And this guy had somehow converted the attic into an apartment. It was totally fucking illegal. No fire escape, nothing. And remember those little-ass, like a kitchen TV?
Yeah,
But it was a color TV, so when he bought it, it was like $300 because it was like state-of-the-art technology. So it was 88 when I was living there, and the Lakers and the Pistons were in the finals. And I wanted to watch that, and he wouldn't let me watch his fucking TV, right? Because he didn't want me taking life off of the tube.
Oh, wow.
That's how fucking shit. It was the fucking NBA Finals. So I remember, like, I had the window open, obviously, because it was hot as shit, and I was also listening for him to pull up. Unfortunately, it was a gravel driveway, so I could hear the tires of his car pulling up, and I was watching the fucking game with, like, the sound down and shit, like, trying to listen to Dick Stockton, and I heard him coming up the driveway, so I shut this shit off. And this fucking dude came in like Columbo. He just fucking...
Detective.
No, looking at me, he just came in and he just touched the back of the fucking
And
TV.
that motherfucker was hot.
That was it. We ended up getting into a fight. I had to fight him. And he tried to charge me extra rent for like the fucking, I was just like, I watched like a fucking quarter and a half. Like, how much is that? How much are you? $14?
The motherfucker touched the back of the TV and said, oh no, we got to fight.
No, he didn't say anything. There was no words needed. He just looked at me, looked at the TV, walked over and touched it, and then fucking charged me.
It was on.
Yep.
Once again, it's on. Tell me about the All Things Comedy. They say you co-created that.
Yeah, it started off with a podcast network. As podcasts were growing and all that, you know what usually happens. The artists create the scene, and then the businessman comes in and says, oh, look what you created. All right, I'm going to own it, but I'm going to get you all this exposure, and then when you're 80, you're still going to have to tap dance in a dirty tuxedo, and I'm going to be laying on a yacht making mailbox money. So we were like, fuck that. Especially with the internet, you don't have to go to these people anymore.
They can come to you now after you created it.
We circled the wagons and got all the top podcasts that we could, and then we all promoted each other's shit, and then now that's turned into, we have a deal with Comedy Central where we shot 3 stand-up specials, signed a three stand-up special deal. We did one with Paul Verzi, Jessica Kirson, and Ian Edwards. Paul Verzi's just came out, broke all their streaming records on Comedy Central, and now we got a couple of TV shows in the works. So, yeah, that's my little thing that I do on the side where I do it with Al Madrigal, and our whole goal is to help comics, you know, get to that next level and actually still own their shit.
Right, and not have to sacrifice.
Yeah, it's like a co-op. It was a very difficult thing to try to put together.
You changing the game, man. You know what it is. It's business now.
Yeah.
You gotta be business over everything. We're inside the Smoker Studio with everyday people, AKA real nigga shit. I'm gonna ask you some questions. I need you to answer. What's the first thing you do when you think of, wait a minute, I ain't saying this shit in a minute. Let me get my shit back right. Okay. What's the first thing you do or think when you wake up?
Oh, all the shit I have to do, I guess. I don't have a thought.
Hot or cold?
Cold.
Tacos or hamburgers?
Hamburgers.
Ass or titties?
Ass.
What are your favorite pair of shoes of all time?
Ooh. You know what? Adidas Country.
For real?
Do you remember those?
Fuck yeah.
The white with the green.
I'm with Adidas right now.
And they keep...
They keep almost making it right.
And they don't fucking make it right. But they did. They did in the early 2000s. I still have them. They're dirty as hell. They look like Bruce Jenner, like threw the javelin with them.
What's your favorite cereal of all time?
All right. You want adult or kid?
I'm talking about, go back to being a kid, man.
Being a kid?
Fuck all that.
All right.
This new cereal ain't what it used to be.
When I was a kid, it was I liked the Monster cereal. I liked Count Chocula and Boo Berry. I liked...
Count Chocolate turned to milk brown.
Shit brown, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't like that. But Boo Berry turned to milk baby blue. It was good. And it had the marshmallows in there.
It's all inherently wrong, though, if you think about it.
It is, but we didn't give a fuck. That shit blew our mind seeing that commercial scene.
You know what I hated? fucking Cookie
Cookie
Crisp.
Crisp? You didn't like Cookie Crisp?
Because when one of those turned sideways and you bit down, it would cut the
that
roof of your
motherfucker hurt.
mouth. Jesus, it was like somebody fucking stabbed you in the roof of your mouth. It would affect how you talked in school, like for the first 3
My
periods.
shit was bleeding one day when I bit that motherfucker sideways. I thought you would have fucked with like some Captain Crunch, Fruit Loops.
I like Fruit Loops, but those were basic. You had to go a little off the grid. The Monster
Dig 'em Smacks?
Oh, Little Frog?
Yeah, Sugar Smacks.
Those were all right. What the you're going way back. Remember Honeycomb?
Honeycomb, my favorite to this day.
Yeah. It's
To
not
this day.
small. Remember all those ugly
Come
kids
to
in that
the
commercial?
Honeycomb Hideout. What's the worst job you ever had?
Oh, God. I worked at a restaurant that was slowly going out of business, and I was so bad with money. Like, I was a busboy, and then the grill chef quit, and they go, hey, do you want to do that too for like another 50 cents an hour? And I was like, oh boy, would I? I wasn't thinking they were paying him $5 an hour, and I was getting $3.50. I should have at least got, another $5. So I would have like my busboy thing on, and I was like on a mesquite grill, glassed in, and I would be fucking watching these people because I had to bust the table, and I would like duck down like a fucking superhero, and I'd come back, go down as a chef, then come back up as a busboy. I would go out, and I fucking had to wash the dishes. Then the dishwasher quit, and I was doing all 3 of those fucking jobs. I swear to God, for like $5 an hour. Roofing. And I was the grunt, and I used to just bring the shit up to him. I was a redhead out in the fucking sun in July on a fucking roof. And I remember the first job I had looking over the fence, these fucking good-looking people, like Instagram-looking people before Instagram, and they were just lounging at a pool, just looking up at us. And I was just thinking, like, what the fuck am I doing with my life?
Living. You was living.
No, that was working. I hated that job so much. Do you know I just left? I didn't even go back and pick up a paycheck. I just wasn't meant to do it. Do you know there was this fucking guy who worked there? He had these jeans on, right? And it had a giant hole here, and he would never wear underwear.
Oh, come on.
It was so
son.
weird. I remember one time I was sitting there picking up these fucking tiles, and this dude stepped over some shit, and the hole moved. Like,
Oh, wow.
Flashed his fucking junk. Those are my 2 memories from that. That dude's junk and those people sitting by the pool.
Yeah, that job was worth quitting.
Yeah, so I didn't want to go back. Maybe that's why I didn't go back.
That's a great reason not to.
No, I wasn't good at confrontation then. I thought he was going to get mad that I didn't want to do a job where I was going to get sunburned and look at some guy's dick. That's how much of a people pleaser I was back then.
Fuck that. If you could remake any movie and star in it, what would it be? And you're the star.
Sharky's Machine.
For real?
Yeah, Burt Reynolds.
You like Burt Reynolds like that?
I also think Sharky's Machine would make people go back and see the original. And I was really sad when Burt Reynolds died.
Me too.
Because that was a guy, like, there's not going to be another guy like that, that good-looking a guy with that great a sense of humor, and then to be able to live the life that he lived.
He lived it. If you could have a superpower, what would it be?
Oh, that's a good one. You know what it would be? When I'm second in line to make a left, and the person doesn't pull up to get out in the intersection and make sure I make it, my superpower would be that I could mentally move them out into the intersection. And if they gave me the finger, I would slowly slide them into oncoming traffic. I wouldn't make them hit, because that's an innocent person over there.
It's not about the superpower. You a villain,
scare
man.
them. I would
You
scare
the first
them.
villain I had on my show. Everybody else's superpower is like Marvel characters. Your shit is like a villain.
They're lying to you. Everybody's pretending that they care. They don't. If you really listen to people, what they care about is what affects them.
True.
Nobody gives a shit about the 8-year-old who made this jacket, do I? Do I write him and say thank you for sewing this together? No. I'm out there trying to get Grecian formula to make some shit for redheads.
Say that.
That is my cause.
Say that. This is the part of the show where we call it finish the sentence. I'm gonna start it and you finish it. I always wake up
and do shit.
If I could
I
work
never have a day off.
if I could work with anybody dead or alive, I'd want to work with
I don't want to work. I want to be home. If I could, I've been traveling too much. If I could work with anybody dead or alive, you know what? If dead or alive, I would do a set in front of Richard Pryor, and all I would want him to say was, "Hey, funny stuff." That's it. I wouldn't want to bother the guy. I would just want him to acknowledge that he watched, and on some level, he thought it was humorous.
This one time on tour.
Okay, well, that's a tough one. This one time on tour, I was with Charlie Murphy. We'll go back to that. And this kid at the Tempe Improv was also into martial arts and thought that his style was superior to Charlie's. And Charlie said that it wasn't. And they had a little kung fu match in the fucking, right, you know, in the black and white tiles. And I remember Charlie was twisting up so bad, he wasn't even looking at the guy. He was just looking over at me, smiling the whole time he was doing it. And I just remember somehow he had turned the kid around where he was behind him, and his arms were all up in his face, and Charlie was just laughing. And Charlie had this laugh, So the kid was humiliated. And I remember I wanted to laugh, but I was just like, well, I don't know karate either, so even though that kid's losing, if Charlie leaves, he'll kick my ass, so yeah.
If I wasn't a boss, I'd be a...
If I wasn't a boss, oh my God, I would be a failure. Because I wouldn't have gone after what I wanted, and I would be working for somebody else, and I'd be a drunk. I would be big, round, and orange, just sitting, wouldn't be sitting here.
My favorite position is?
Doggy style.
You're so nasty.
I just can't deal with the intimacy, you know? I don't know who I am as a person yet, and when somebody looks at me during that time, I feel like I'm exposing too much.
I was talking about your position on the basketball court.
I don't play basketball.
Okay.
I was more of a hockey guy.
Okay.
I played defense.
I love it. Give her that hard D. My name is Bill Burr, and I'm a
comedian.
A damn good one at that. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up for my favorite, your favorite, the one and only Bill Burr. Thank you for stopping by,
Thank
Bill.
you. Thank
it's been real in the field. Until we meet again, Bill, let them know where they can see you at and what you got coming up.
When does this air?
Tomorrow.
Yeah, it doesn't.
And where can they see that show, F is for Family, in case they don't know?
On Netflix. Season 1, 2, and 3 streaming right now. F is for Family.
F is for fuck you in my book.
There you go. F is for Family.